Soy Deepak, welcome. Good evening, Vishnu. Thank you. Welcome, Krishna. Rajkumar, Soy Tej, welcome. Good evening. Good evening, sir. Prabhakar sir. Good evening. Yeah. So, very good evening to all of you. Happy CA Day. Welcome to webinar series. How to make use of the lockdown period for the purpose of CA students, the pandemic situation, to give the knowledge from our end. We are calling eminent personality to deliver some speech so that student can be in the position to make use of the time in the proper manner. Today's topic is Beyond 2020, 6 skills required for the future, not mere 6 skills. What are all the skill we have to require, earn during this type of unfortunate situation? In future, how to get a job opportunity, all those things and all. We want to discuss with them. Eminent personality. No need of introduction with respect to C. Pattabhiram sir. He's a guru for all teachers. Those days, last 3 decades, he is in practice as well as taking classes. He's an author. Student used to stand in queue to get the appointment or what, attend the classes. He's a speaker as well as writer. He authored many books, and without his speech, none of the conference, CA conference, students as well as member conference, I come across. And sir used to call student superstar, member superstar in our CA students community. Welcome, Pattabhiram sir. In this auspicious day, CA day, we got the blessings as well as we got the opportunity to get the appointment with you. Really, we are privileged, sir. Welcome, sir. Shanmunan, sir. Over to Shanmunan, sir.
Thank you, Hariharan sir. First of all, it gives me a lot of pleasure. I would say immense pleasure to host along with Pattabhiram sir. It is like a dream coming true, to be very honest. And he was teacher of our times, and a person who is author, motivator. We can keep talking about sir for non-stop 1 hour. That much stuff is there. A faculty by benchmark, an inspiring personality forever, and he needs no introduction. With 3 decades of practical exposure, almost 25 years of the teaching exposure, he is a benchmark for many young faculties. The subject he handles, he is an authority. See, our times we all came to teaching, to be very honest, by looking at sir, and truly inspirational forever. Another important point, sir authored various books. It is like the from CA to CEO and the Nightingales. of the profession, like 11 women, how they have overcome their obstacles, and two biographies. One, another legendary personality, IT Tribunal member, CA Rangaswamy sir. About him, there is a biography, and L&T, Deputy Managing Director, about that person, Ramakrishnan, Mr. Ramakrishnan, about that person also another biography. They were considered as benchmark in biographies, and one of that books were released by Vice President. So many credibilities. See, if we want to elaborate, we will take the time out of the speech. So in that sense, we want to hand over the proceedings to Sir. And Sir preferred it to be a question answer session. Truly blessed, Sir, to get your appointment on a day like CA Day, an illustrious chartered accountant, and he leads and any conference of southern region, as Hariharan sir said, it would have the speech of Pattabhiram sir. So in that sense, truly inspirational for very many students till date. And so, without taking much of the time, we would like to hand over the proceeding to Sir. And some of his achievements, if you would call, it is like any topic you give, Sir, make it as a and that skill of them, all that we discuss, whether it is in business or any other training institution, the topics he handle is always of contemporary relevance. So in that sense, thanks to Sir once again. Now let us hand over the proceeding to Sir. This negative emotion. Even before starting this, I met one student. Her feedback, sir, we don't know literally what to do. We are sailing through are not there. That is becoming an issue. And apart from all this, what is the future course? So
Hari, I think we have lost
Yeah, yeah.
Shabbu. Can you
Yes,
just
sir.
repeat his question because
Yeah,
some
sure.
part of it was not clear.
Yeah, sure, sir. Sure, sir. The first question, sir. Have the rule in the career market changed in the last 20 years? What are the rules? Have the rules in the career market changed
All
in the
right.
last 20 years? Sir?
Okay. Now, I consciously wanted Hari to run a Q&A session so that it can be conversational.
Yes, sir.
Uh, in terms of what has happened in the last 20 years, and 20 years is a very long time. Many of you were possibly born 20 years ago. Uh, there are many changes that have taken place in the job market. But to my mind, some of the key changes that have taken place in the job market, and I don't want you to mistake me when I say this, is first and foremost is that age is no bar. I still remember the time when I first got my employment after I completed my chartered accountancy. I gave up the opportunity to work in some of India's top companies like the Hindustan Lever, the ITC, etc. I gave up. I didn't choose to go there, but instead went to a company which today we might call a startup. Okay. And one of the largest challenges at that particular point in time was that going up the corporate ladder was difficult unless you had age on your side. That means beyond a certain level, you can't grow unless you are older. Age was a stumbling block. You never saw CFOs in their 30s. You never saw CEOs in their 40s. You had to be in your 50s to become a CEO. You had to have gray hairs to become a CEO. Not many people actually ventured into, what should I say, uh, personal or private business. Today, that has all changed. Today, you can be a CFO of a good company. I'm not talking about small companies. You can be the CFO of a good company when you're in your 30s. And if you're not a CEO of a company when you're in your 40s, then I think you can actually kiss goodbye the chance of going up the corporate ladder. So, the first important change that has taken place in the employment market in the last few years is that age is now no bar. What is important is knowledge, and what is also important is what we will loosely call emotional quotient, as in how well you can get along with people. That's the first important change. The second important change is that we have changed from the time when people went to office maybe at 8:30 in the morning and came back from work at 5:36 in the evening. We had what we might roughly call the 9 to 5 work syndrome. It was typical British culture. If you look at the British, they go to work, they come back home in the evening, spend the evening along with family. They had a very clear divide of what constituted work, what constituted personal life. I think that has today blurred. Today, work is 24/7, unfortunately. I'm personally not a votary for someone who sits late. Okay, today, like one of the CFOs one day told me, it's still 9 to 5, but it's not 9 in the morning to 5 in the evening. It's 9 in the morning to 5 next day morning. Now, I'm not saying that's the great way to work. My own personal take is that people who work long hours are either inefficient or they have no hobbies or passion beyond what they do at work. And that's not a great idea, because at some point in time when you retire, I know retirement is very long away for you, but at some point in time when you retire or when you lose your job, you really don't know what to do. So the second important development that has taken place in the career market is that work is no longer 9 to 5, it's 24/7. And unfortunately, in many jobs, you're like a doctor on call. You're like a doctor on call who, whenever you're called, have to come. And incidentally, what has happened in the last 3 months, something that people predicted will happen in the next 5 years, this business of work from anywhere, work from home, has actually blurred the distinction between workplace and home place. Okay, while work from home is a great idea, more than from home, work from anywhere is a much better idea. It has actually blurred that distinction. That's the second important change that has taken place in the career market. The third change, there are many changes, but I'll focus only on three. If the first change was that age is now no bar, and if the second change has been that we have moved from 9 to 5 to 24/7, the third important change, and I'm not being, what should I say, male chauvinistic, etc. The third important change is that more and more and more women are coming into the workplace. For example, when I qualified from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India long ago, I think in a classroom there were only 5 girl students. Today in a classroom there are 40% girl students. The CA course at that particular point in time, for whatever reason, did not attract women. Women essentially went to jobs like medicine. Slowly, women started going to engineering. When IT came, a lot of people went to IT. But that was also not a great idea, because in IT, people had to work late shifts. It was in the last 20 years, in the 90s and the 00s, the 2000s, that lots and lots of women started coming to chartered accountancy. Today, nobody even thinks twice if a lady says that she is doing chartered accountancy. It's become par on course. And they're all getting into employment. And that's what is making, I think, the workplace far more exciting, because it makes them far more challenging. You compete not just with your gender, you compete with people from the other gender. People from the other gender bring in their own skill sets. Okay, they bring in their own skill sets. So these are the three main changes that have taken place. Age is no bar. If you're good, if you're ambitious, you can become a CFO even when you're in your 30s. And increasingly, good companies get people in their early 40s to become managing directors or CEOs, because then they have a long run. And very, very importantly, is that increasingly the role of the chief operating officer, the COO, is going away. And it is the CFO who, along with the CEO, is distributing those functions among themselves, which means that the role of the chartered accountant has suddenly, in the last 5 to 7 years, become very, very important. So you guys are actually in a great profession.
Good, sir. Rightly, you have pointed out 9 to 5 become 9 a.m. to 5 a.m. Even in many audit firm also, students are working like that. Now,
it's actually, personally, I don't think, Hari, that's a very healthy thing to do. It's happening, but I would personally think that people should work X number of hours, then they should pursue other things. If you're going to be always thinking about audit, what begins to happen is that you take the pressure of the client on you. For example, if you ask a good doctor, very often when we go to the hospital, when the doctor talks to you, you tend to think that the doctor is being impersonal. Doctors are trained to be impersonal so that they don't take the patient's load on them. I think accountants should also realize that. They should also pursue other things. Then they stay younger for a longer period. Then their life also, like Sachin Tendulkar, who chose to play. At some point in time, he said, I'll play these games, I'll not play, and therefore elongated their career. That will also happen in the case of the CS.
Yeah. Next one. Off late, if you're going to see, even in the articleship period also, students are not ready to come out from the comfort zone. The sense, if I go for one audit, if I'm comfortable with the same audit or same client, keep on, I want to go to the next year also. And they may have a number of recent morning classes there or evening classes there. Therefore, that client is more comfortable. And if you're going to see salary package, even the last year, Bangalore also campus recruitment in SIRC. Attempts also, they know the criteria. Instead of 5 attempts, they selected only 3 attempts. Salary package also not much attractive. And number of, another one is current scenario, reduction in salary was happened. Losing the job also is there. So your idea or your suggestion, your advice, what are all the 3 most important skills young CAs, whoever is what upcoming CAs or currently just cleared CAs, what and all they have to require to earn the three important skills, sir?
All right. I will break what Hari said into a few parts. First, he said that students live in a comfort zone. They don't want to go and take up other audit clients while in their articleship. 2, that in campus placements, institute has been asked to identify how many attempts a student took to pass the exam. Third point that he said is that job losses are taking place, pay cuts are happening. And in this context, what skills to have? That's correct?
Yes, sir.
Now let me quickly tell you, I like that first point that you made, that people have a certain comfort zone. Everybody has a comfort zone. I'll tell you what my comfort zone is. When I drive from my home to my office, or when I drive from home to, let us say, to a classroom, I always take the same route. Always. I don't take a different route. I'm sure that's what Hari and Shanmuganathan would also perhaps do. I don't take a different route because the vehicle automatically goes. Whenever I have to take a different route, so I'm a little more cautious. Many people, that's again an expression of comfort zone. Okay. Many people like to be in their comfort zone. Like Hari said, that's not a good idea. People can give hundreds of explanations. Most of these explanations are not genuine. The most relevant explanation is that they have become very comfortable with people, and that's not good. Actually, you should work in areas on which you're not comfortable. That will actually increase your skill. In many good organizations, not just today, even at the time when I qualified long years ago, good corporates would put you in a job, in a position for 2 years, 3 years, and then they will transfer you to another job. And in great organizations, you work, let us say, for example, I worked for about 3 years. I worked in the management accounting function. Then I went to corporate finance, and I was working as part of the strategy team. And then I moved out. But moved out means I gave up employment. But if I had continued, I'm 100% sure they would have also asked me to go work in operations. It's actually a good thing. It's a good thing because when you work outside your comfort zone, you become that much more skillful. So, as students, this is the right time for you to take up as diverse work as is possible in the office. Don't say, I will do only tax. Don't say, I will do audit. Or if your firm gives you only audit for all 3 years, don't complain. There are lots of people who come to me and say, hey, I want to join EY, but the entire 3 years they are going to do audit. Now, please go ask Hari, go ask Shanmugh Nathan. Okay? They also do the same thing every day. I have done the same thing every day, 365 days a year, last 20 plus years. Okay? Doing the same thing is not bad. Doing the same thing actually makes you skillful. There is something in life called the 10,000 hour rule. Okay? I'm quickly forgetting the name of the man who said that. He said that if you want to become an expert in a particular area, you must spend 10,000 hours doing that job. Maybe today it need not be 10,000, it can be 5,000 hours. For example, when you go listen to the concert of someone like Sanjay Subramaniam, so you say, hey, this guy is terribly talented, how wonderful he plays, things comes naturally to him. Nothing comes naturally to him. If you go talk to Sanjay Subramaniam will tell you that he practices 8 hours a day. He practices 8 hours a day. So working hard, doing the same thing again and again and again is important because it makes you an expert. When you see somebody in stage, in public, maybe in a classroom or in a talk, delivering flawlessly, and you think, oh, this is outstanding, you really don't know how many hours of work has actually gone into practicing that. And it comes effortlessly, largely because the job has been done multiple times earlier. So doing things again and again and again is actually good. The second thing that he said is that in campus, people are asking how many attempts you took. I still remember 3 years back, I had put up a post on Facebook. I can't forget. I put up a post on Facebook saying that who would want to see a chartered accountant who has taken 5 exams to pass. Okay, I put that in all humility. I have great regard for the chartered accounting community. All said and done, I've spent almost all my adult life among chartered accounting students. I put that out of genuine interest because I personally believe a student should pass in his first attempt. When you are in class 10, you never told yourself it is all right to come back and write again in September. When you were in class 12, you never said, hey, this is only my first attempt. Both in class 10 and class 12, you never said it is all right to fail. But in chartered accountancy, rightfully or wrongfully, people are okay with not getting through. So in that context, I said that. And you know, within 30 minutes, I had 240 comments there under my Facebook post. Out of 240 comments, I'm not exaggerating, 235 comments were abusive. Maybe they were not literally abusive, but they were completely against what I said. They said, no, that might have been true in your time. It's not true now. You have got through the exam, so you are saying what you're saying, or you might have been academically very talented. Therefore, you are taking the liberty of doing what you're doing. I even tried to tell them that I do work with a company called Wipro, and Wipro has told me that get people who have passed in their second attempt. Today, Wipro picks up people in their fourth attempt. The fact that organizations are asking the institute as to how many attempts a candidate has taken to pass is actually a little sad. Because like somebody in that post of mine said, when you go to a doctor, I could see merit in that. He said, when you go to a doctor, do you ask him how many exams did he take? The argument there was that if I pass my chartered accountancy, unmindful of how many attempts I have taken, I have passed. That means I'm good. I don't agree necessarily with that. But anyway, the fact that the institute is being asked is not surprising. But let me tell you, on CA day, the fact that institute responds to that, gives the detail is bad. I got to know only a couple of days back that the institute shares that detail. If the institute is actually sharing that detail, that's bad. Okay. So the fact that that is now what is happening is something that you can't help. So you'll have to work faster. You'll have to finish your exams quicker. And the third thing that job cuts are taking place, pay cuts are taking place, is a ground reality. Everywhere pay cuts have taken place. I do not know whether it's a good thing for me to tell you. I do a lot of writing work, and within 1 month of the lockdown, I have lost work that constituted at some point in time 25% of my work life. Okay? No reflection on the quality of work that I do, reflection of the fact that organizations think that they are postponable. Today, people are going to see pay cuts, they are going to see job losses. That is as it is. So, what do you do if you have to pick up skills? If you have to pick up skills, you have to be current. There are many things that are today being done which are getting automated. They're increasingly getting automated. Jobs that are repetitive in nature will get automated. In the next 5 years, you will see, just to give you a quick example with which you can relate, vouching in audit is going to get automated and automated completely. There are many work areas that are going to get automated. There are many work areas which are going to be done by AI. Therefore, those jobs are going to go up in smoke. The skills that you should pick up are digital skills. Your ability to work with technology, your ability to be socially relevant. That means pick up social skills, good at interacting with people, not rub people the wrong side, get along with people while they are working, etc. is a second important skill. Third important skill for the moment is knowledge. I personally don't think the importance of knowledge is going to go away in a hurry. So what you learn in your chartered accountancy, please keep updating that so long as you are in the field that relates to chartered accountancy. So to quickly summarize what I was trying to say is that we must finish our exams fast. We must realize that the new reality is that there are going to be job cuts, and if there are job cuts, and if you're out of job, kindly use that time productively to learn new things. Look, if you've been locked up for the last 3.5 months, and if you've already qualified as a CA, please use that 3.5 months to learn things that you would have otherwise not learned. There is Coursera. There is Coursera, a place from where you can pick multiple courses, learn advanced Excel, for example. There is Udemy, where there are multiple courses that people can learn, all sitting from your home. Pick up more and more knowledge, pick up more and more skills.
Sir, can you tell us 3 specific places where CAs can work in the current kind of scenario?
All right. With your okay, I just want to tell that I've just now completed a book that talks about 25 happening careers for accounting and finance professionals. Okay. P.R. Ramesh, who is the past chairman of Deloitte, has written the foreword to that book. In the space of the last 3.5 months, putting the lockdown to great use, quick friends of mine or quick team that I assembled, I worked deep on that. And I would think out of the 25 careers, according to me, all the 25 careers are important. Why I told you 25 careers is I want all of you to understand that careers are not drying up. Okay, there are opportunities everywhere, and in each one of these 25 careers, we have spoken to an expert. We are carrying the excerpts of the interview with the expert. Okay, 4/5 is text, 1/5 is interview. I want to tell you that while jobs might be drying up, avenues are open for people who are skillful. Some of the areas where people can work, okay, today's generation can work. When I say some of the areas, I mean not places, but careers. I don't mean whether they can work in the Murugappa group or whether they can work in KPMG. I'm talking about areas where they can work. Forensic accounting is an area which is becoming increasingly important in the workplace. Arpinder Singh, to whom I spoke, partner Ernst& Young, who sits in Gurgaon, tells me that the work is so very exciting and interesting, and that chartered accountants are the right kind of people to work there, and that if they have a legal background, if they have added on an interest in law, they become that much more skillful to work in forensic accounting. So forensic accounting is one area where you can actually make your mark if you're interested in audit, if you're interested in law. Today, you can also work in corporate finance. That's where the money is. That's the area where people have largely been interested. If you're not able to pick up what I said by saying corporate finance, it's largely the many things that you read in your CA final in the paper Strategic Financial Management. Okay, so in corporate finance there are lots of opportunities. Mergers and acquisitions, deals take place. Maybe in the next 1 year those deals might not happen, but that's an area where you can work. You can, if you're interested in managing money, you can work in wealth management. That means planning people's future, for which you can do a course called the Certified Financial Planner course. Increasingly, what is becoming important is area relating to technology. Okay, that's more a skilled area where you will work along with the engineers, but you can always act as a functional expert. Okay, and technology, the marriage between finance and technology, which is popularly called fintech, is one of the hottest areas today. So technology is a place where lots of work is happening. I spoke to K. Raghu, past president of the ICAI, and he is very, very gung-ho about technology. So corporate finance is one, forensic accounting is another, technology is a third. And there is a lot of, if you're someone who is interested in management accounting, in cost management, or you're someone who's skilled with numbers, financial modeling is another area. The only trouble is that financial modeling skills might, over the next 5 to 7 years, be taken away by automation and artificial intelligence. But otherwise, that's another area that you can work on. So there are scopes relating to audit area. Forensic audit is one. There is area relating to consulting, which is an evergreen area. You can be a consultant, work for some of the largest organizations. It will take you directly to interacting with CXOs. You can look at working in corporate finance. You must look at working in technology if you have the feel for it. Working along with engineers will actually broaden your horizon, and you will provide the, the functional expertise to them as they build in analysis on big data, build in blockchain, build in artificial intelligence into the workplace. The expertise, the functional expertise of the CA will be required. This is a profession, and I can tell you, this is a course which is absolutely evergreen. I don't think chartered accountancy as a course can ever become outdated. What's important is that we must keep ourselves constantly evolving.
Correct. Sir, how will technology impact our profession? Let it be blockchain or the artificial intelligence, robotic accounting, which they are talking about. How will these things have, some sort of impact on our profession? Specifically, auditing also nowadays it is more of software driven and more of compliance. In this scenario, how technology will impact our profession?
40% of the work that's today done by audit will, in the next 5 to 6 years, done by people, will in the next 5 to 6 years be done by machines. Okay. Robotic process, you can call it robotic process automation, you can call it artificial intelligence that it uses, you can call it big ticket computerization, you can call it by whatever. Huge technology driven audit tools are going to be used, consequent to which lots of things that we grew up learning are going up in smoke. Even today, even 3 to 4 years ago, sampling, which you read in audit, is no longer significantly relevant, because today you can audit the entire population thanks to technology. So 30% of the work, 30 to 40% of the work that we currently do is going to be taken away by machines, which will automatically mean that the audit team will be, if today 10 people do an audit, 6 people, 7 people will be required to do the audit. But having said that, you will then end up doing more productive work. I do not know whether today's generation will understand what I say. For example, there was a point in time when accountants fought the introduction of computerization. At the time when balance sheets and trial balances were done manually, people said our jobs are going to go away. They have not gone away. Tally today does your accounting, Tally today does your balance sheet, but you still need an accountant who will analyze.
Correct.
And therefore your time is spent more productively. So lots of time will be spent by people in putting the RPA in place. What are going to be the jobs which the people who lose out, the 30% of people who lose out, what jobs they will have, we don't know. That's the unfortunate challenge today. What we today know, and I'm being serious, I'm not being flippant, what we today know is that 30 to 40% of the jobs are going to go away. What we also believe we know is that new jobs are going to come up. But what we don't know is what are going to be the new jobs. This might sound philosophical, but this is also what the World Economic Forum is telling you. I'll give you an example. 10 years ago, nobody in their wildest ever dream thought that there would be a business like being a cab driver. I know I used to go in Ola and Uber pre-lockout. All kinds of people were drivers. I knew a guy who is an engineer who goes from 10 to 7 to work as a software engineer, who in the morning time, the time I used to drive, used to run a cab. And he tells me that he has actually engaged people. Now, who did ever think that Ola will become an opportunity? Who did ever think that Uberization would mean that no, there will be one entity which will collect people and do service, like Oyo Homes. What is Oyo Homes doing? They are simply linking people who want rooms to hotels which want guests. Okay, they are actually doing the work of what in my generation people used to call the honest middleman. Today, we use fancy terms for that. So what I'm trying to tell is that jobs are going to go away. New jobs are going to come. We don't know what those new jobs are going to be. Therefore, like Mr. T. N. Manoharan said yesterday, instead of trying to find out what the future is going to be, we should ready ourselves with skills that will become important in the future. So we need to pick up new skills. We need to adapt to the future as they come along. Okay. So, yeah.
Yes.
Please
Sir,
go ahead. No.
Given context, which career one should choose? There may be non-CA students watching this webinar. So in the given kind of circumstance, in this profession of accountancy and finance, which career one should choose?
All right. In the meantime, Shanmuganathan, if somebody can pick up, I think there are some questions that are coming up on the chat, and there are some people who indicated that no, please respond to the chat questions. If somebody can quickly pick up from there the important questions and keep. Hi, Bharat. If they can keep the important questions there, later we can answer some of those questions. Okay?
Yeah, we are doing. Bharat is doing.
Yeah. Now, you were asking, can you repeat the question if you don't mind?
The career, what career one should choose in the given context?
All right. So I tried to name 3 out of 25 careers that I thought were important for an accounting function. I now broaden that to tell the audience here. If you ask me, you should take up something that you actually love. See, let's be very honest. You need to do something which earns you money. Let's be ruthlessly and brutally honest. If people all along have been saying that money is not important, I think COVID has told them that money is important. Okay, I don't mind somebody mistaking me, somebody telling that I'm talking monetary. I think I've spent enough time in teaching to have at least the liberty to tell you what I think is right. Okay, I'm not saying become mercenary. I'm not saying chase money. But I'm saying that people must do a thing which earns them money, whether they like it or not. But at the same time, they should also do things that they like, they are passionate about. Let me put this in perspective. Let us say tomorrow, forensic accounting becomes the highest. Forget forensic accounting. Tomorrow, let us assume that traffic constable job becomes the highest paid job. Okay, traffic constable job becomes the highest paid job. Believe me, all the guys who go to IIT, IIM, they will become traffic constable guys, because talent almost always in history gravitates to area where the reward is highest. Okay. Now, what I'm trying to indicate to you is that if forensic accounting is tomorrow hot and it pays a lot of money, you should not necessarily go to forensic accounting if you love investment banking, if you love statutory audit. So even in the work area, you must do things that you actually like. Today, forensic accounting will be hot. Tomorrow, something will be hot. These are all no like fashion. They change. They keep changing. So you must do what you like. Second important thing is that merely because, and I don't know whether I can tell this, but I'll take the liberty of telling. Merely because you have done chartered accountancy does not necessarily mean that you should continue to do work that relates to chartered accountancy. Chartered accountancy as a course gives you a respect. Luckily, even till today, people do respect this profession, do respect this qualification, notwithstanding what many people might say. Okay, there are pluses and minuses everywhere, but this qualification is still as widely respected as the profession of medicine. Okay, what I was trying to say is that if your heart lies elsewhere, take Sanjay Subramaniam. His heart lay completely elsewhere. His heart lay in music. He at some point in time gravitated to music. You also need to do that. Maybe you can for first 5 years, 7 years do work, but ultimately if your heart is in music, you must make a career there. I know guys, chartered accountants who are in the film industry. If they are in the film industry, you must go there. I know chartered accountants who are journalists. They earn half the money that anybody else earns, but their heart is there. They think that the recognition that they get there is significantly more, because in the end, everything is not measured by rupees and paise. If everything is measured by rupees and paise, there'll be nobody who will come to teaching. There will be nobody who becomes a school teacher. Everybody would want to work in corporate India. So it's also important. It's also important that we must do things that we are interested in. Because if you do things that you are interested in, what will happen is that there will be greater longevity. You will live happier. You will do things that you like doing, and at the same time, like I said, no, you must do something that also keeps the kitchen going. Okay. So to cut a long story short, don't necessarily pick up jobs that pay the most. Don't necessarily go and do what is hot at that particular point in time. Do what you like in the chartered accounting program. At some point in time, if you think that your heart is not necessarily in that area, if your heart is to go and work in an NGO, you can make a difference anywhere. If your heart is in doing an NGO, look at Akshay Patra, for example. If your heart is in doing something like that, you must do something like that. Ultimately, I've always believed that people will be remembered not for the amount of money that they earn. Bill Gates is an exception. Steve Jobs is an exception. Even I tell you, Bill Gates is not going to be remembered when history is written. Bill Gates is not going to be remembered for Microsoft. Gates is going to be remembered for the phenomenal work that he and his wife are doing in Melinda Foundation for cancer cure, for alleviating poverty. Okay, Steve Jobs will be remembered not because he went to X college or studied Y course. He's going to be remembered because he gave us an outstanding product. People will remember those who leave footprints on the sands of time. And footprints are going to be left only if you do things that are closest to your heart.
Sir, what will happen to learning in future? What would be the model? What you foresee in your view as a learner?
I would think learning will increasingly become self-learning. A lot of institutions, for example, I'll give you a quick example. I do not know whether this is the right place to tell that because many of you don't go to colleges. But let's take the CA itself, for example. Let's take the CA course itself. Suppose there are 8 subjects, 2 subjects as you now do, you might do self-learning. Other 6 subjects, unlike what happens today, where the teacher comes and teaches, what's going to happen in the future is that there is going to take place what we call blended learning. Blended learning is a clever mix of 20th century's idea of classroom instruction and 21st century's idea of self-learning. For example, if you're doing your intermediate, suppose a teacher is going to teach dividend. He will today tell you that tomorrow I'm going to teach dividend. Today, please read dividend from the textbook. Please read dividend from a video that the teacher has put up. Or please read dividend from a video that some star professor across the world has put up. Read and come. And then tomorrow when you come to the classroom, the teacher answers your doubt. The teacher asks you questions. The teacher then works out. That means we are going to see a mix of self-learning and classroom instruction. This is what B schools call flipped learning. That means the student learns and comes, teacher asks question. We may not see that 100% here, but we will see some amount of people learning and coming and the teacher teaching. Today, many teachers may not be comfortable with that, but over a period of time, that will be the way forward. Secondly, all of you guys who are studying chartered accountancy, take it from me, at the end of the 3rd year, when you finish your articleship and when you write the exam and when you pass the exam, for heaven's sake, don't think that your learning is over. When you step out into the big bad world of business, you will realize that learning is a continuous process. And when learning is a continuous process, you cannot always go to a classroom to learn. You will have to do self-learning. And today, the greatest thing, sometimes I think that we are extraordinarily lucky to be living in the internet generation. The greatest advantage today is that there's hordes and hordes and hordes of information in the internet. I will give you an example, which I've given multiple times, but I will give again. When I was in school, when I was in class 7, we had this great doubt. I know we did not have the doubt at all. The question was, which is the capital of the United States of America? I studied in a school where each class has only 20 students. 16 of us were very, very clear that New York is the capital of the United States of America. 2 people were clueless. One fellow thought Washington, D.C. was the capital. One fellow said Chicago is the capital. So we said, this day, I'm going to ask my geography teacher as to which is the capital of India, USA. The geography teacher did not come that day. She was absent. So instead of her, an arts teacher came. Arts means the guy who teaches drawing. So he came. First thing, people jumped up and said, sir, we have a doubt. We said, okay, what is your doubt? Then one student got up and said, sir, we want to know which is the capital of the USA. He said, Washington, D.C. is the capital of USA. All of us started laughing because we all were supposed to be some of the best guys studying the school. So we all started laughing. He said, why are you guys laughing? One guy sitting next to me said, sir, don't worry about that. Go draw some picture. We'll draw it. That evening, I went back home. I told my father, look, we have a stupid geography teacher who tells us that Washington, D.C. is the capital of the United States of America. My father is a guy who believes that there are only 2 books in the world that people should refer to whenever they have a doubt. If I go ask him what is the meaning of this word, he'll say, look at the dictionary. If I ask him what is the spelling of this word, he'll say, look at the dictionary. If I ask him where is Alaska, he'll say, look at the atlas. So when I told him that, he said, go look at the atlas. I looked at the atlas and I was extraordinarily shocked when I found that Washington, D.C. was the capital of the USA. Why I am telling you this is that those days, it took us 12 hours or 24 hours to know something. If my dad was not there, we would have taken 3 days to do. Today, Professor Google gives the answer in seconds. In fact, I tell people in my class that you can carry a mobile with you. You can use the smartphone. Whatever questions you can Google, you Google and find the answer. Don't ask me. Just to give an example, don't ask me which is the capital of the USA. That you Google and find out. But if you want, you can ask me, why is Washington DC the capital? Because Professor Google does not know. I will try to tell you that. So what I am trying to tell you is that we are living in extraordinarily wonderful times, and we will have to use the internet to do a lot of self-learning. Because if we don't learn, if we don't update ourselves, we will rapidly become a museum piece.
How will the workplace change in future, sir? Because these changes will lead to change in workplace also. How will these
Absolutely.
changes?
Workplace will change. Some of the changes are already happening. Some of the changes are already happening. First important thing is that lots of people will work from home. 30% of people in organizations are going to work from home. Absolutely no doubt about that. That has happened faster than what people thought. COVID has shown that work can happen from home. Only thing, checks and balances, all those, what should I say? What is that called? That data does not get corrupted, that nobody flinches your data. All that thing has to be done up. 30% of work will get done from home. There are jobs that are tailor made to be done from home. Writing, journalists will work from home. There are many people who will work from home. I see no reason on earth why these code writers should not work from home. When I say work from home, I don't necessarily mean working from one's home. I would think that organizations will give coupons to employees. These coupons can be taken and you can sit in cafe coffee day and work from there. Or there will be a lot of, what should I say, uh, like Workafella. There will be a lot of outfits that will come up where you can just take a seat for the day and work. That kind of thing is going to happen. That's point number one. The second important change that is going to take place in the workplace, and it's going to happen faster than what you think, is that you will work along with robots. In the space of the next 10 years' time, your co-worker will be a robot. Okay, your co-worker will be a robot, and you will interact with them. What you saw in Shankar's movie, Endiran, is going to be a stark reality. If you love watching movies, watch many of the science fiction movies. Many of the things that science fiction said, talked about, is going to be a growing reality. So first important thing is that people will work from home. 30% of people will work from home. Second important thing is that at some point in time in the future, you will work with robots, you will work with machines. The third important thing is that all these jobs that involve supervisory will go away. This job of this useless guy called the team leader is going to go away. What does the team leader do? He just sits there, acts as the middle guy between you and the top guy. Okay, between the working guy and the leadership. My sense is that those jobs are going to go away because clients are going to interact directly with the working people. Let me give you an audit example. If you're doing capital expenditure audit, okay, if you're doing capital expenditure audit, your client is not going to talk to your manager. He's going to ask you questions. So the role of the manager is going to disappear. You will be there, the partner will be there. Maybe it will not happen in the way that I say, but what I'm saying is many of the middle kind of jobs that do not necessarily involve knowledge, but involve more of coordination and supervision, etc., is going to go away because many of the basic jobs are in any case going to be done by machines and robots, and no, you can't lead robots. So that is the third important change that is going to take place. I think these are some of the three quick things that would happen.
Sure.
Bharat, any queries from our viewers?
Yes, sir. Sir, there are some 2-3 questions which I have combined. The first question is CA students exploring law as an option. Apart from the taxation, apart from the auditing, can we opt law as an option? That will be the first question, sir. Connecting that question.
I will answer that, then we'll go to the next one.
Yes, sir.
Law,
Okay.
law is an option. Increasingly, there are lots of chartered accountants giving up CA practice to explore law. Point number one. Point number two, like I said, if you want to do forensic accounting, a thorough understanding of law is important. Lots of guys in the world of forensic accounting come with a mix of chartered accounting background, which tells them how to audit, and law background, which tells them how to investigate and interpret law. So, unlike in my times when we foolishly went ahead and did CA plus ICWA, which was all right at that particular point in time, because it made you stand out in a crowd. Along with CA, you will do well if you do a law course. It could be ACS, or it could be, more importantly, the general law. So it could be pretty useful, and you will see increasingly lots of people moving away from CA practice into law practice. Essential, basic chartered accountants.
Sir, yes, sir, great, sir. So the next question is, can a CA extend his scope working for NSC or BSc? How will that be scope for a chartered accountant? Connecting, maybe, I think maybe the question will be like the regulatory authority like SEBI or something, like merchant banker or a portfolio manager, something like that, sir.
No, if the question is, can I work in the National Stock Exchange? The answer is yes. If the question is, can I be a stockbroker? The answer is yes, but you can't be in CA practice. So let's forget about the fact that somebody is going to do CA practice, because that's not the be all and end all of life. You will work in corporate India as a chartered accountant. So you can work in the National Stock Exchange, like Bharat said, in a regulatory role, in a supervisory role. You can also work in a role which sets up the legal framework. That's where that law background will help. You can also be a stockbroker. You can also be a stockbroker, member of the stock exchange. Or, like I was trying to tell you earlier, you can be a wealth manager. You can be an equity research analyst, of which I did not tell. There's lots of young boys and girls today who work as equity research analysts, either independently or as part of a KPO, knowledge process outsourcing, which is very, very different from a BPO. Okay, so people can definitely work in the capital markets.
Okay, sir. So the next question that another fellow asked is, what will be the scope or what will be the designations that we can take if we are a semi-qualified CA? Like under
Designation, right?
yes, like how he can work as a semi-qualified CA. Now, understanding that the team leader's position will not be there, the hourglass structure will definitely have a hit. So what is the designation that we can try to do if we have just become a semi-qualified, completing just inter-examinations?
No, what is it that he can call himself as an independent practitioner? Is that what he's asking?
No, no, he is asking for the employment, sir, not for the practice. He is asking for if I wanted to be in employment as a semi-qualified CA, do I have any separate designation that I will have to work on for?
Okay, all right. I've not 100% understood the question, so I'll rephrase the question. I don't want to say what designation organizations will give. Organizations can give any designation. For example, half jokingly, in a book called The Seminar, I would actually suggest all of us read the book called The Seminar. The Seminar was written by a man called Tom Peters. Tom Peters in 1995 wrote the book called The Seminar, and many things that Tom Peters said has happened in corporate India. He talked about the inflation of designation. Today, if you go to Citibank, for example, your very first job is your senior assistant vice president. Okay, so he says there's going to be a lot of inflation of designations. He said that in organizations, janitors, the guys who clean up, they will be called sanitation engineers. Okay, all fancy terms. So I'm not going to get into what designation you will be called by. I will tell you where you can work. If you're half qualified, first and most important, my personal request is that complete your qualification. Okay, that today you can qualify at any age. Age is no longer a barrier. There are people who qualify at the age of 58 because they do that job course at 58. There are people in their 50s who have come back to finish the course. There are people in their 60s who have done the course. So first important thing is that at least on July 1st, CA day, try to tell yourself that you will complete the course. That apart, if for some reason that you don't want to do that, I think you can take a shot at working in many of the BPOs. The BPOs are increasingly looking for that. There's going to be a lot of cost reduction that's going to take place. And unfortunately, when cost reductions take place in organizations, people will cut out the chartered accountants. I'll give you a quick example. I'll take the liberty because I come from both the institutes. In many organizations, internal audit recruitments are not, internal audit departments don't recruit CS, they recruit CWS. Because their argument is that CWS will learn on the job and they come at 70% of the price. Okay. So what is going to happen is that you can look for jobs in the BPO sector. Working in a BPO is not shoe shine job. Working in a BPO is good. It is just that BPO is process driven. It is just that in BPO, what happens is that 10 instructions are given and you have to follow the 10 instructions. If they tell you that when you speak, you'll have to pick up the phone, keep it on your left hand and in your left ear, you have to pick up the phone, keep it in the left hand and in the left ear. You cannot pick it in the right hand and keep in the right ear. That is the only problem with the BPO. It is instruction driven. There is no application of mind, but you will become an expert in what you do. So BPO is one area where you can work. Second, but I'm still on that point that you must go and pick up your qualification. Otherwise, it will always be an albatross in your neck. You'll always feel heavy in your neck. You think, okay, I'm not able to finish my CA. You think you are weary of that. I wrote the exam 4 times. I now don't want to look into the book at all. There is some other course. There is the USA CPA. There is the USA CMA. Okay, which you can do in 6 months or 12 months. There, maybe it might be a little more expensive, but if you think education is expensive, you have to try out ignorance. Being ignorant is far more expensive than education. So, to quickly summarize, first finish your CA or do some other course. Second is that there are openings in BPOs, and the other important thing, no, I forgot to tell you that. I don't know what is your view of Donald Trump. I don't have great view about him because personally I think that anybody who holds that office must not just provide confidence. They should not talk the way that you and I talk. They should talk like a statesman. That apart, leaving that apart, because Donald Trump is essentially a businessman. For those who don't know, he was in the real estate business. Okay, Trump has gone on record to say that he has signed an ordinance where henceforth skills in a job are going to be more important than qualification, and that I'm very happy with that because that's the thing that all of us are talking about. What I'm trying to say is that tomorrow you, as a half qualified, let's say cost accountant, forget even chartered accountants. If you as a half qualified cost accountant know how to do forensic audit well, you will be preferred over and above a chartered accountant who does not know how to do things. What is going to be increasingly important is skill. Today, even in places where I recruit, okay, where I recruit either as part of my team, which then gets disbanded, I've never asked people, what is it that you have studied? I only ask them, where have you worked? What have you worked, tested? I'll give one quick example. I know we might be running out of time. If I create a team that is going to work on a writing project, I don't ask them, are you a chartered accountant? I don't ask them, are you a journalist? We give them some 2 pages for them to write, they write, and if they have the skill, they work. And surprise of surprises, I've actually once landed up working along with a first year commerce graduate. So skills are going to be more important than academic qualifications.
Good, sir. Good, sir. Last one question, shall I ask, sir?
I am okay with any time. I have nothing to do.
Okay.
I'm as jobless as most people today are.
The last 22.
Just the people. So if they are comfortable, I'm okay.
Okay, sir. Past 20 to 30 years back, if I'm going to recollect, I used to admire the people, like the teachers. School days, I used to remember Anbaragan sir, one person was there, how he used to take the class. Thereafter in college also, we don't call it name, UR sir, RP sir, GV sir, like that, what initially only we used to call. And during CA days also, MPV sir, Patabiram sir, TN Manoran sir, those people and all, we know how they are used to take the class, how they used to discharge their professional work, how they used to have their bonding and a professional relationship. That is what we are used to admire. Even Shanmunans are used to accept the same. And those people are role model for us to becoming a teacher or coming to this particular line. We want to become a chartered accountant, we want to do the practice, we want to take a professional as a teaching also. But current generation, slightly this is missing, sir. There is no professional bonding or a nice liaison between one professional to another professional, even co-professional or co-teachers. What would be advice for the current generation, sir, during the CA day?
No, there is no bonding between the teachers or bonding between the teacher and the student.
No, I'm talking about the co-professionals. It may be a
Between,
teacher or child accountant.
you
You are
want me to
mentioning that,
you
yeah,
want me to answer that question?
if possible.
Personally, I think it is very sad. Personally, I think if that is what is happening, it is very sad. Uh, even and my own sense is that that is not a modern phenomena. Okay, that was always there, even perhaps earlier. Okay, it may not possibly have been visible to many people, but that has happened. I don't know why it has happened. There is no reason for it. I have personally never ever bothered about others, in the sense that no, I have never said, hey, I will not talk with Mr. X or Mr. Y. And if I have a doubt on a subject, I don't want to take names because it will get misinterpreted. I have been, there have been occasions where I have walked into a CFO's office and got something clarified, and he has been very gracious enough to clarify the doubts that I have had. So what I am trying to tell you is that if you feel that is happening, I'm not denying that that is happening. Instead of trying to reconcile, instead of trying to change the world, I think you must take the first step towards moving forward and creating that relationship with them in small, small ways. And once you start creating a personal rapport, and then you tell yourself, and I'm choosing to call teaching professional work, though I would not like to call that. I got into teaching because I did not know what to do in the morning. To be very honest, I'm not being flippant. Okay, I'm not being flippant. I am, despite the fact that I've taught so many years, I have generally said that I will teach in the morning up to 8:45. Balance of the day, I will do my whatever other work are there. Okay, uh, so if you feel that that is happening, you must take the first step forward. You must take the first step forward. And trust me, many people are actually waiting whether somebody else will take the step forward. And if despite that it is happening, you just have to leave it at that. You just have to leave it at that. There are a couple of examples that I can give, but I don't want to give that when there are students. Maybe I will talk to you today, tomorrow. I'll give you some examples which will tell you why these are happening and why they should, how we can overcome that.
Good, sir.
Sir, only one more question, sir. Now, many students, as I started due to technical issue, I could not complete that question. It is like many the problem now. Now also in chat box, lot of students are asking only one doubt, sir. Will the exam happen? That uncertainty. Obviously, we cannot answer
No, no,
that.
I will answer. I will tell you. I cannot say whether the exam will happen or not. I can definitely say what I think about it. I have no problem about that.
One, sir. Second thing, there is uncertainty specifically in Chennai and Delhi. So those students are very particular. They are asking, will the exams happen in Chennai? And second thing is, one student asked, what would be the impact of technology in our exams? Like that. The first, the uncertainty about exam, if you could address it, would be of your
Yeah,
big
I
help.
will do. When COVID first happened in March, when Prime Minister Modi locked things down, I was the first guy, among the first guy who went on Facebook to say educational institutions will be closed until minimum September. Okay. I gave various dates because I was a jobless guy. I gave various dates and I said educational institutions will not open till September. So many of the things that I put out, they might there look flippant, but they're all things well thought of. Educational institutions cannot open quickly, largely because there are so many people assembling. It is like a cinema hall. Theaters will not open. They will not open until March, until we find a, what should I say, cure to the pandemic. There's another word, I'm vaccine. Until we find a vaccine to the pandemic, theaters will not open. I would like to believe educational institutions should not also open. Although there is a theory which was first propounded by a doctor in Vellore and was backed by a doctor from the Harvard Medical School. The doctor has gone on record to refer to something as herd dash, I don't remember what it is. He says that people have to go out. People have to get COVID. Okay, a little difficult to explain, but people have to get COVID, and with that they will build immunity. And the doctor has gone on record saying that young people, uh, I'm just giving a number. That does not mean people above that are old or people below that are young, whatever. He says people who are under 50, they should come out. People who are over 50, they should stay at home. Under 50, they should come out because even if they contract COVID, they will get cured. And his argument is that this is the only way that we can fight COVID. And he gave an example, which because there are students here, I want to tell that. He gave an example that if in the process there are people who die, he says it is all right. I don't believe that we can say it is all right if people die, but I agree with a point of explanation that he's making further. He says this is like war. In a war, often it is said of war that war is a thing about which old guys talk and young guys fight. Fight means go battle. Like that, he says, just like in a war, young people have to necessarily fight in the army, lose life so that the nation is saved. Here too, young people have to come out of their homes, face COVID, and in that process, build immunity. Okay, this is a very nuanced argument. Not everybody would like it, but it's a very nuanced argument. And he says this is the only way in which we can fight out. He's a respected doctor from Vellore, and his views have also been separately subscribed to by a doctor at the Harvard Medical School. Having said that, I would like to think that if you don't want to write the exam, don't write. This is not the end of the world. This exam is not the end of the world. If you tell yourself, I have failed this exam, what's going to happen? Only thing you might say, why should I? Why should I? So just like people would earlier ask, can I skip this exam and write May because I'm not well prepared? You skip the exam. You go write in May or write in November. Trust me, I can tell you, in my view, I would like to be proved wrong. No exam will take place in Chennai for CA this July. No exam will take place. If it happens, all right. But the way things are today in Chennai, it will not happen. There will be no exams. CA examination is not rightfully on the list of priorities that the government of India has. Class 12 itself was not a priority. At least class 12 leads you to graduation, leads you to the first year of college. CA is not going to lead you anywhere. If you don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I am saying everything with a sense of responsibility. If you write the exam, if you pass the exam, you are not going to get a job next 6 months. Nobody is going to recruit. There are going to be no recruitments that will take place. I'm not trying to demotivate anybody. I'm just putting up the reality. So that if you think that in your mind you have this battle, should I write this exam, not write this exam? Don't write it. This is the first time in my life I tell people that you can skip an exam. You write in November. If November happens, if November does not happen, May will happen. Or maybe at some point in time, the institute might choose to use technology to conduct the exam. So to cut a long story short, just decide that you will not write the exam, focus on studying, focus on doing multiple other things. Don't now try and go identify, research, find out which are the geographies where COVID is not there. So I'll go and write in Goa. How will you go and land in Goa? You will take a flight. Why should you take a flight? Where will you stay there? It doesn't matter. Yeah. This started not finishing CA. This July is not the end of the world. The end of the world comes when people throw bombs. So my view is that. Second thing is that very quickly, institute will have to move to technology in evaluating papers. My personal view, and this is among the 9 trends that I have tried to document, is that at some point in time, not very relevant for people today, they may curse me for saying it, but at some point in time in the future, people will write exams when they are ready. Like today, you write a CISA exam when you're ready. You write a CPA exam when you're ready. So you will write the CA exam when they are ready. This business of November, May, etc. will disappear. You will write your exam when you're ready. You will write your exam from wherever you are. You will write it. Maybe you will go to a center and write until they build in the technology. Once they have built the enough technology, you can sit and write from home. There will be enough proctoring with technology, with cameras, etc. But of what is immediate relevance to people here is that valuation today can be done with technology. And Institute is also working towards that. What I can tell you is that the GRE exam, the graduate record, that engineering exam, GRE exam, and the GMAT exam, where there are essay type questions, they are also valued by machines. And they are also valued by machines. Handwritten papers are valued by machines. Technology has come there. So increasingly, I think our institute will also use that. I am fully in line with people who say that there are issues with valuation. Okay, there are issues with valuation, and hopefully they will get corrected.
Good, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Bharat, you can.
Sir, thank you so much, sir. Now, the last answer that we had is panacea for all the mental illness that the students were having for the past 1 month, sir, because we were only able to say that keep studying and motivate yourself. But we need that giant from one side to say that, yes, you can skip your exam even if you start studying. So thank you
No,
so
I
much.
am very clear about that. I've told people you skip the exam. Don't get divided between, hey, I am going to write. Somebody is not going to write. He is going to get the job. I will not get the job. There are going to be no job 6 months. Take it from me.
Okay. So, sir, thank you so much, sir. I wanted to add up something more, sir. When we were talking about, when you said in your CV, CA by qualification, writer by passion, and teacher by accidental choice. So, the teacher by accidental choice was taking up in a different way. But can you just say why is that is an accidental choice for you, sir?
Actually, the word accidental choice is wrong. Okay, that phrase is wrong. An accident cannot be my choice. Okay,
Yes.
so it's actually by accident. Full stop. So it is CA by qualification, writer by passion, teacher by accident. Full stop.
Yes.
Today I don't use that because today I think I used that some 10 years back because in some seminar somebody asked me what do you do? So in a public meeting of CAs they asked what they do, so I told them this is what I do. Today lots of people are using the exact same phrase. But to answer your question, unlike many people, I did not come to teaching because I wanted to come to teaching. I can be very open about that. I think I spent enough time to be very open about that. I did not plan that I would be into teaching. Today, I'll also give you a quick example. Once Vijay Kumar went and met somebody in the government. This is long years back. And in the course, that guy was asking him, "What are you doing? Where are you working, etc." So he said, Vijay Kumar said, "We are part of a firm." He asked him who are the partners. So he told that friend. Vijay Kumar told my name. Then that friend, that guy asked him, "Is by this person by any chance such and such?" He said yes. And that guy was my classmate. And he asked him 3 times, "Are you sure this is the person who is with you in practice?" Vijay Kumar said, "I am 300% sure." What I'm trying to tell you is that nobody in my school, nobody in my college, given whatever academic background that I had, given whatever I showed when I was there, ever thought that I would ever get into teaching. They all thought, I don't know whether I can take the liberty of saying this, they all thought this guy will go abroad, work in the World Bank, work in the International Monetary Fund, work here, work there. No. Life ordains several paths to different people. Different people ultimately end up doing different things. Many things are essentially, according to me, by accident. So, for example, oftentimes the question that people ask is that, given a choice, will you do the same things that you have done now, or will you do something different? And oftentimes the standard answer is that I have enjoyed whatever I have done. So if there is a life again, I will do exactly the same thing. I would not say that. I would definitely say I have enjoyed whatever I have done. I have absolutely no regret that I did not work long in corporate India. I have absolutely no regret that I took up teaching by accident. It's very difficult to define what is an accident. You have a car accident. How do you define that? How did it happen? Means what? Somebody came and hit you. That's all. Period. In other words, I did not go searching for it. That's all I can tell you. In other words, I can tell you I never planned it. Nobody ever thought that it would happen. But I would like to tell you that if somebody today asks me, would you like to do the exact same thing? I would say, no, I would not like to do the exact same thing, because it will then be sitting in my comfort zone. It will be sitting in my comfort zone. Today, for example, if somebody asked me, if you had an opportunity, what would you have liked to do? I would today, and I'm being very honest, I would today like to tell them that if I had an opportunity to relive life, I would like to be a doctor. Okay, I would like to be a doctor. I have seen some of the doctors work, not just in COVID, even earlier, and they have done phenomenal job. They have done phenomenal job. If there is one profession that actually comes closest to the profession of God, it is that profession. So what I'm trying to tell you, let me move away quickly from that. What I'm trying to tell you is that while I have no regrets whatsoever about whatever I have done, this business of it being an accident is only to tell you that unlike going to a corporate where you went by design, you finished your CA, then there was the Hindustan Lever, there was the ITC which called you for interviews, you happily went and attended that. This was not designed that way. It was just something that happened.
Thank you so much, sir. I know that I've exceeded the time, but a real fanboy moment for me to have been in this eminent forum. So thank you so much, sir. For the students, I would say, for all the books that you have written, right from the school, when they wanted to get into the college, they can see how to get best out of the college. When they wanted to become a CA student, roadmap for becoming a CA student. When you wanted to move from CA to CEO, you've already got the book for CA to CEO. And you have ended up saying, fly high, let there be light, and few good men to be a chartered accountant. All the books that you have written is from the start to end we have been. So thank you so much, sir, for being this part of session. We are so blessed to be having you at this point of auspicious day. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Hari. Thank you, Shanmuganathan. Thank you, Bharat. Thank you very much. And thanks to all of you who have turned up here.
Sure. Thank you.